Hi, it's me again. My hair's a bit, well, more red than usual. Funny story that. My dad decided that he'd sort out the airlock in the water system when I was about to wash off the dye. So, of course, couldn't wash the dye off. I ended up with it on my hair for an extra hour or so, and now it's very red. According to a friend, I look like Ariel off The Little Mermaid, which is great, I suppose, except I'm, well, as far as I know, not 12. So I figured as well that I'd read you a little bit of my new whip at the moment that I'm writing. It's called The Leaking Manuscript because it's about a writer like my unfortunate self who, she's trying to get published, but when she's writing, her characters start, well, coming to life. My tired eyelids weighed heavily down on me as I sagged over the keyboard. Almost blind from the urge to sleep, I felt for my coffee. It was black, extra strong, and tasted like grit with every sip. It was the only thing keeping me awake anymore. The late nights were getting to me. My eyes tipped shut, and my head lolled forward, but Lydia started screaming at me, and the doze was short-lived. She was determined that I finish this chapter before I slept. My head started to nod again, my fingers stilling on the keyboard. "Don't you dare leave me in limbo! Don't you dare!" I snapped my eyes open. "I'm awake. I'm awake." The words were slow and slurred, but I could see Lydia's sadistic smile unfold in my imagination. Sometimes it felt like she was more alive than I was. I swilled the coffee and took another gritty sip. Ugh, putrid. "Why do you drink that stuff?" "Don't talk to me while I'm working," I muttered distractedly. The words on the screen swam before my eyes. I squinted and rubbed my forehead like that would somehow help everything focus. "You're not working. You're sitting there screwing up your face. You're supposed to be finishing the damn chapter." I muttered something and wiggled the mouse. "You can't kill me off. Kill off the protagonist and you kill off the story. You'll never get published if you kill me." Her shrill know-it-all voice cut right through me. Why did I have to create the characters that were smart asses? She flicked her blonde hair and poked me right in the grey matter. I rubbed the back of my skull, when my brain had started to ache. Lydia stepped back from the shadow, filling her doorway. Her green eyes lit up with fear. She snatched the carving knife, brandishing it in his face. "Come any closer or I'll carve you up," she screeched with a trembling voice. "Carve him up! Carve him up! This isn't some silly teen movie. I thought you wanted to be a real writer." My forehead thudded against the desk with a muted note of pain. My eyes were black with smudges. I couldn't keep this up. It wasn't like I could even get any respite. How can you when the person giving you grief is in your head? I hit the backspace with a little more gusto than needed to delete the snatch of dialogue. Clicked the X in the corner of the screen before Lydia could realize what I was doing. She started screeching as soon as the save prompt appeared. I imagined her standing in front of me as the computer buzzed and shut down. She had her arms folded angrily across her chest. "Don't think I'm going to let you sleep. I know what you'll do. You'll just leave me hanging in that scene for days. You'll say it's writer's block. Well, I don't buy it, missy." In my head, I saw her push over my computer chair, but my whole body felt so much like lead that I just flopped into bed, fully clothed, and drowned in dreams of the shadowy creature in my manuscript. Somewhere in the inky black scuffle with the shadow creature, my alarm went off. I peered into the too strong daylight, wishing it was my day off. My feet swung out to find the ground, but I moved too fast and fell over something on the floor. Lying on cold laminate wood in a sleepy heap is never the best way to start the morning. Confusion overtook tiredness when I realized that the chair was overturned on its side. I was sure I hadn't left it like that last night. It had been upright when I'd imagined Lydia tossing it to one side. The imaginative side of my mind stayed mutinously quiet. Now that really was ridiculous. Characters can't come to life and knock over chairs. I'd probably just done it in my sleep, or maybe I'd walked into it when I'd gotten out of bed. I changed my clothes and brushed my hair through, heading down to the kitchen. Marmalade on toast and a swig of last night's cold coffee were all I had time for before I left the small house. Part of me worried that Lydia wasn't bothering me. After a writing crash like that, she usually bugged me for hours. Keys clicked in the lock and I hurried down the street to the cafe. Waitressing was the best that I could do until I finally finished my novel. When I finished it, there was still no guarantee that Lydia and the mysterious shadow would be accepted or become a success. I hurried into the cafe, slapped my coat on the hook and apologized for being late. The hours were long, but the pay was welcome. Waitressing isn't the most highly paid job, but it's still demanding, both physically and mentally. A few hours in, I was already ready for my bed. If Lydia thought I'd have enough energy left to finish off that scene, then she was sadly mistaken. She'd been quiet all day, though, and that instant with the chair was still niggling at me. I moved to a table by the window where a crabby old bat was complaining about her drink. I offered to get another one for her and dallied behind the counter, imagining that a team of armed police officers would jump on her and get rid of her. There was a loud noise, and the glass of the front window shattered. I froze a few steps from the counter. The other younger waitress ducked behind with a high screech. It was like slow motion. Glass fell in a curtain of frosty shards. Special operation police officers jumped through with snipers in black uniform. My jaw dropped. They surrounded the old bat and yelled out an arrest warrant. I didn't catch the words, but they hauled the woman out the door. Officers swarmed around us, telling us to keep calm, that they would need statements, but I backed through the kitchen doors and stood, shaking with the old bat's drink still crushed in my hand. That was a coincidence, right? The chair and the old woman were just coincidences. It didn't mean anything. I looked up and saw a shadowy figure in the kitchen. The same shadowy figure that Lydia had been faced with last night. Hot chocolate slid through my hand like warm butter and splintered when it hit the floor. China and scalding liquid burst across the tiles in a firework of chaos. The shadow stepped close to me, hood drawn up to shield his face. I was still asleep. I had to be still asleep. The shadow stepped close still. I grabbed a knife from off the side. Come any closer, and the figure cocked its head on one side as if gauging me. I'll carve you up, I squeaked, and realized too late that I'd said what I'd typed out for Lydia. I panicked. Fictional characters are not supposed to come to life. They're supposed to stay fictional, and buried in your head. What did this thing do to me? I hadn't read that far in the book. He was supposed to say something next, but... Oh, thank God, the shadowy figure cried, sucking in oxygen like it was all going to disappear. I opened my eyes wider and dropped the knife. Do you know how difficult it is to survive in reality without a mouth?